live.
Do I think I would have killed Will? Yes. I'm sort of a special, unorthodox type big man. Steven, you knew I was coming. You've been asking me to come for 3, 4, 5 years. You knew I was coming, and you ain't want to show up. Shaq. He's the greatest of the universe.
You know what, Stephen A. Max? Only if our next guest could get a commercial. Like, could you get one commercial deal? Honestly, Shaq, it's unbelievable.
Can I introduce him? Can I introduce him with one thing? I only have one thing to say with the Shaq. Can you dig it? I missed that.
You didn't do it right. Yeah, you didn't do it right. Go ahead, Max. Go ahead, Max.
Can you dig it?
Yes, there it is. There it is.
Oh, my gosh. The Hall of Famer, Shaquille O'Neal. So good to see you. All right, and you are the new brand ambassador for Novex Biotech, a sports nutrition brand built on optimization for men 45 and older. Since every man in my life is 45 and older, we need to talk about this a little bit later, Shaq. But first, I want to focus here on the Brooklyn Nets. Talk to me. What do you think? What's going to be their biggest challenge, those three personalities in one ball?
Well, the question is, will they implode or will they explode? Right now, with the two, with James and KD, looking pretty good. Joe Harris is getting shots. The others are involved. They're playing well. But what's going to happen when Kyrie gets back? Barkley and Kenny seems to think that Kyrie's not going to be the point guard anymore. James is going to be the point guard. He's going to go to 2. Question is, will Kyrie go for that? We'll just have to, sit back and watch. I don't want to, speculate on what will go on, but of course, they're the 3 of the most talented players that we've seen on one team. They definitely have a big 3. And I said this and I meant this. If they don't win the championship this year, it's a bust, period.
Let me say this, first of all, as an aside. Not that this man needs any more money, but every university in the United States of America should, any university that has a marketing program should call Shaquille O'Neal, okay? I mean, he could just give marketing lessons to everybody. Let me say that. Now let me say this to you. We saw Brooklyn, the big 3, show up last night against the Cavs. They lost in double overtime. We saw Kyrie Irving. Kyrie.
Okay, so Kyrie's back.
He got back. He got back.
Okay,
they lost last night in double overtime. Kyrie shot 28 times. James Harden shot 14 times. To me, that's a big deal, okay? I still expect them to come out of the East. I think if they come out of the East, Shaq, that's good enough. You're saying finals or championship or bust. I say finals or bust. Why should it be championship or bust?
You got to win. No. You listen. KD knows what it takes to win championships. So does Kyrie. James hasn't been there yet. It's time for him to get a championship. All that going to the front. No. He's not a young player. This ain't his first or second year. Championship or bust. And let me tell you why. So I guess James has a little problem with what I said. The first time we met, I had a problem with what you said, right? I talked to you like a man. And you know what you said to me, Stephen? You said, Shaq, you're a great player, but you haven't stepped up yet. Remember that? Remember you told me that? I cornered you. We got into a little argument. And look, you said, Shaq, I love you, the most dominant big guy in the world, but you keep getting swept. You haven't stepped up yet. So he ain't stepped up yet. All that talk about, we should be uplifting brothers and all that. I uplift my brothers by telling them the truth. I'm not a yes man, okay? You ain't show up yet. So you got to win the championship. All that making it to the finals, you're supposed to make it to the finals. You're supposed to make it to the finals, but you're also supposed to win. I want to see some people win. Look, I wish them well. I hope they win, but if they don't get a championship this year, it's a bust.
Meantime, while that was going on with Brooklyn and Cleveland, Philadelphia was winning, and they were beating Boston, and they were doing it behind Joel Embiid's 42. And Shaq, you've gotten on Embiid to stay more consistent. I say Embiid is the MVP so far this year.
No, he's not.
And guess what? If you say Embiid is the MVP, that's the talk we want to hear from our big man. Notice I say our big man because I'm the president of the Big Man Alliance. When there's another dominant big man that does what I've done, I will move out of the way. But other than that, I'm not leaving this chair. So, I've always said 28-10 is the formula for big guys to be dominant. Of course, when you go to the playoffs, you got to add to your PPG and your RPG. But, hey, I'll take 42-10 anytime. So, Mr. Embiid, keep it up.
Keep it up all he wants to. Kevin Durant is the MVP right now, Shaquille O'Neal. The brother's averaging 30 or 54% shooting, better than 40% from three-point range. And oh, by the way, 18-month hiatus because of an Achilles heel. He's the MVP right now.
And I saw what you said yesterday, and I agree with everything you said yesterday. The man had 18 months off, and he came back like he hasn't missed a beat. Yes, Kevin Durant, Durantula, is also my MVP. I have to go with Stephen A. on this one, Max.
Shaq, we're acting like there's no defensive side of the ball. Not that KD can't play defense, but if you've seen Embiid
defense
this
is
year,
overrated, Max, defense is overrated. Stop it.
Shaq, Embiid is the closest thing the league has right now to you, and because the league is not as big man oriented anymore, everyone thinks it's a disadvantage. He's abusing these little dudes.
Say it again. He's the closest thing to what?
To you in the league right now, as far as the big man game.
Static. I can't hear you, Max. It's a lot of static. It's a lot of static in my microphone. I cannot hear you.
Shaq, but for real, you had Penny, and Penny was great, but Penny wasn't a guard version of Shaq. Kobe was.
Debuts together, Max. They play the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they lose in double overtime. What is your biggest worry about this big three after their debut?
After they couldn't miss a shot early. My biggest worry is defense. Defense is my biggest worry on this team. I would throw in depth, but that's why I thought they needed Kyrie Irving. We were debating that earlier this week. I thought they needed Kyrie because once Dinwiddie got hurt and then they traded LeVert and Jared Allen, they needed, because they were so thin, they needed another high-end performer to take some of the burden off of KD and James Harden. But they have that now. They have that. Even though it's a thin roster, the top three are so explosive offensively, can score at all three levels, right? They can shoot from the outside. I mean, sure, Harden could hit mid-ranges if he wanted to, and in the paint, the whole thing. But the defense is a problem. I know it was 2 overtimes. They gave up 147 points, and they were trailing for most of the game. The defense is going to be a problem also because you could talk about DeAndre Jordan, and he could give you 20 minutes and do some things. But Jared Allen's a real NBA player who can play real minutes and especially help you on the defensive glass. The defensive possession's not over just because you make a stop or get in a good position. If they're getting the rebound, it's no good. You have to also get that. They're going to have to bring someone in, and they're going to have to develop a defensive identity. Because from what I saw yesterday, if someone said, what's the biggest problem on this team right now, it's the defense.
Well, listen, I can understand where you're coming from, but I think you missed the biggest point as to why you pointed out the defense. Did you know that the Cleveland Cavaliers have the second worst offense in the National Basketball Association? They rank 29th. Out of 30 teams, second worst. They ranked 29th out of 30 teams in the NBA offensively and dropped 147 on the Brooklyn Nets without Darius Garland, without Kevin Love. So I just wanted to throw that out. But that still ain't the biggest takeaway from yesterday's game. I got news for you, Max. How about not getting the ball to Kevin Durant when it counted most? How about Kyrie Irving taking 28 shots, 3 more shots than Kevin Durant? How about Kyrie Irving shooting twice as many shots as James Harden? When did we think we'd ever see that? Kyrie, well, it's not about who shoots more, but when you shoot 28 shots and James Harden shoots 14, nobody expected that. And so as a result of it, as the game waned, listen, and then also, let's not forget, I mean, Kyrie did used to be a point guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Kyrie Irving did hit the game-winning shot that clinched the championship in Game 7 back in 2016. Kyrie Irving was a showstopper, or you understand, at Quicken Loans Arena, which is no longer the name of that arena. They got a different name now, okay? That Kyrie Irving, who, by the way, they paid tribute to during the game. But the other point guard there now, Sexton, finished with 42. And, oh, by the way, 22 in the overtime.
Which says what about the defense?
I understand that, but you're looking at the defense collectively. I'm looking at Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Kyrie Irving, the showstopper offensive player, Mr. Box Office, because he is. Kyrie Irving, you walk through the turnstiles to watch that brother play.
Best show in the NBA.
No question. But in the end, these are all elements that I'm talking about here. Yeah, you can point to the defense. Got to get the ball to Kevin Durant.
Okay, but wait a minute.
You can't shoot fallaways. Can't shoot contested shots. I mean, he makes the difficult look easy sometimes, but sometimes they were difficult and they were unnecessary. And then when you're taking twice as many shots as James Harden, you don't need to be doing that. So I would have liked to have seen, let's say, for example, Kyrie take, instead of 28 shots, how about 23? and Harden has about 19, and KD has his 25. That's what I would have liked.
You know what I liked about what Kyrie did, though, is everyone's looking for that. Is Kyrie going to dominate the ball? Is he going to be able to share? Instead of letting that dictate to him and change his game, he just did his thing. It's his first game back. They'll figure that out. I'm not too worried about it. By the way,
they'll figure that out. That's not what you said for years.
I'm not talking about on the court that I'm worried. I'm talking